nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid Podcast on a Saturday. I'm your host, Kiyan, Sobhani, joined by Mehedi, Hassan to break down Real Madrid's 2-0 win over Granada. Early kickoff. We're done work early today. I love it. We don't have to stay up until 2, 3, 4 a.m. wandering the streets of Madrid or, just trying to finalize a podcast before going to sleep at a reasonable hour. We got a whole night ahead of us. Some opportunities to have dinner with our family, do whatever we want. Great start to the weekend. Mehedi, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, Kiyan. I'm doing well. Yeah, good win. These are the kind of wins that you need en route to a league title win if you want to win a league title. So overall, happy with the performance. And kind of, especially because the days are really short in Canada right now. Like it's like sunset at 4:30 or something.
No, it's like literally 3 p.m. It's pitch black outside.
Yeah. So it's better if we can like wrap the game up a bit earlier. Also the podcast at an earlier hour, and then go about our weekends. So all in all, good stuff.
Good stuff. All right, so let's get to it. So right off the bat, Carlo with a little bit of an interesting twist to today's lineup. I had to my brain froze a little bit when I was reading the lineup because when Real Madrid puts out the starting 11, they don't put out the formation, and none of the players are in order. It's just based on their numbers. So you have to you're trying to get all the defenders, all the midfielders, all the attackers. I'm like, okay, there's only Fede, Kroos, and Bellingham, and I was for what seemed like 20 minutes, I was looking for the fourth midfield. Then I realized, oh, this is different. It's a deviation. Possibly the first time we've seen a deviation from the nominal three midfielders plus Jude lineup. So today, I was like, okay, maybe Jude's playing a little bit deeper today, but that's probably not going to happen because Jude's going to be in the box as much as he can anyway. And it turned out it really was a bit of a 4-2-3-1 Mehedi. So you had Kroos and Fede as a double pivot, which I've been a huge fan of in this stretch without Camavinga and Tchouaméni. I think it's the best solution on defense. That's worked. And you had Bellingham kind of in the hole, Rodrygo on the left, Brahim on the right. Joselu, who barely touched the ball up top in the striker position, completely disconnected from the play, although he did have a great little flick to Brahim for the second goal. So 4-2-3-1, and I liked it in the sense that the three in front of the midfielders were very fluid, very interchangeable. I mean, you had mostly Rodrygo on the left, Brahim mostly on the right, and Jude kind of roaming, but Rodrygo and Brahim were getting into both half spaces. I mean, look at the two goals. Brahim in the first goal, right half space, great movement and passing. On the second goal, left half space, great movement, great passing. So all in all, I know, and I saw your tweet in the first half. You were kind of complaining. This is before we scored, and I think Mehedi, the truth is Granada are not going to be your strongest opponent. It's at home. In the end, you're dominating possession. You're in complete control of defense. Granada's XG was a whopping 0.01, which is basically the lowest possible it can be, apart from a big fat zero. I thought it was fine. You're facing a low block, and I think you did all the right things. It wasn't like you didn't have 3 million XG in this game, but I think you did enough, Mehedi.
Yeah, we did enough. And you're right. I was actually frustrated about how things were going for the first 20 minutes. And after we scored, actually, Real Madrid asserted that kind of control that I was looking for the team. And why I was frustrated was because I hate when even these low block teams sometimes come to Madrid, come to the Bernabeu, and they start playing from the back. They string passes, and we're not really pressing them. I think it came up during your recent mailbag with Lucas regarding the control aspect, like with Ancelotti, Xabi Alonso, that whole narrative, that how much control do we want? These are the games. I don't want like something very drastic, but I want Real Madrid to control these games completely, which in the end the team did today, apart from the first 20 minutes. I agree. The positioning things that you mentioned, yes, the attack was really fluid. Carlo at this moment can almost like do no wrong. Things are going that way, and I think the double pivot of Fede and Kroos has been kind of a revelation. Carlo has actually spoken about Fede's new position today as well. We'll definitely discuss his quotes at some point in the podcast. Interestingly, I was just checking as you were speaking. I was just checking the average positions of the players, and Joselu's position was actually deeper than even Rodrygo today. But he still like couldn't get that many touches. He was struggling pretty much.
If you want, you can share your screen. I don't know if you're able to,
yeah, sure,
or not.
I think I can share my screen. I'm just looking at it on who scored, but
okay.
Host participant screen
maps.
sharing.
Yeah.
But on SofaScore they have this average positions for each player, and Joselu's average position was a bit deeper than Rodrygo. Rodrygo was again great, scored a great goal. When we are discussing the goals, I will actually go on and discuss Rodrygo's ball striking a bit, because I think that's something that's really changed recently. So all in all, good win. Apart from the first 20 minutes, not much to complain about.
Yeah, so I just brought up Rodrygo and Joselu's heat maps. This is Rodrygo, and then this is Joselu. Same spaces, basically. Joselu dropping deep sometimes. And I think, Mark StatsBot, which is my favorite Twitter account, it's just that it automatically tweets all the stats, these advanced analytics, graphs, charts. He put out the passing chart, right? And Joselu was the one that was not basically connected to anyone. And just looking at touches, 20 touches, right? So that 20 touches in 69 minutes, that tells you a lot. Somehow only one shot today? Is that... Wow. So he was pretty quiet.
And that shot was pretty early. I think it was a cross from... It was probably Fede or Brahim early on in the first half. And he just smacked at it and the defender in front of him.
Yeah, so it's funny because when I was looking at this lineup, I thought... For Joselu specifically, it was actually ideal because when we talk about a striker who doesn't do much outside the box, well, with this lineup where he's backed by Rodrygo, Bellingham, and Brahim, well, he doesn't need to do much of the creative element. He can just be fed into the box. But ironically, today of all days was one game where he didn't have much happening in the box for him. Like a lot of the good balls that were going into the box were actually for Rodrygo, who was getting on the end of stuff, or Brahim, and it wasn't really him. So quiet game from Joselu. I wanted to give a tribute or an ode to Fede Valverde because I think in the absence of Tchouaméni and Camavinga, I almost would dare say most of the reason why it's worked from a balance standpoint is because of him. Like he's doing so much. I mean, he's playing a little bit deeper now, but still he's not really, he's not doing as much attacking, but he's also not sacrificing that much of his attacking. Like he drives forward constantly. Like constantly he's driving forward off the ball. Like you saw it today, like switch, sprint into the box. Pass it to Carvajal or switch it or play square ball to one of the midfielders and then sprint into the box. He's driving forward and then he's also stopping a lot of transition attacks as well. He's playing defense. I mean, Toni Kroos, who I thought was pretty much foot perfect. The only one blemish was early in the first half in the 13th minute, uncharacteristic giveaway. And Fede is the one who sprints back and intervenes and makes sure Granada don't break. I mean, our transition defense was great, but I think part of the reason why a double pivot with Kroos can work from a defensive standpoint is Fede Valverde. I mean, Bellingham too. Those two in particular are doing a bit of everything right now and carrying the load from a balance perspective. And of course, Brahim has stepped up, Rodrygo has stepped up, and that's helped a lot too.
Yeah, Fede Valverde is just to me, he's the most underrated player in the squad and probably in the world, because you see all the guys that he had to fight to make a place in Real Madrid starting 11. He's doing better than all of them. Like when I say all of them, I mean all of them. Kovacic, Marcos Llorente, Martin Odegaard, even. So and of all of them, he has been the most accommodating to the club's needs. Whichever manager wants to play him, he will give his 150% there. You play him at right back, he'll do that. You play him at right wing, he'll do that. And that's part of the reason why.
But did he make any friends? Has it been easy for him to make friends?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's the general secretary of Friendship Club Day Football now,
yeah, he's pretty high up in the hierarchy.
Hierarchy for the Friendship. So, and part of the reason that's why he has like achieved more than any of those names I just mentioned too. Like he has assisted in the Champions League final of all things, and especially under Carlo Ancelotti, he has the thing that I said about being accommodating. He has been even more accommodating to his positions. You will never see. Even we have seen like guys like Camavinga and Rodrygo speaking publicly about not complaining, but just speaking about the positions that they would like to play or what their best position is. I don't think I've ever heard Fede Valverde talk about his favorite position. You play him at center of midfield, defensive midfield, right back, right wing. He'll play anywhere. And the energy he brings, the two-way presence he brings is, again, really underrated. So including the tangibles and intangibles, Valverde is definitely like, after Jude, I think he has been our second most important player this season. But because like he's not scoring every game for the stretch he did in the first half of last season, like the stretch he did, I think that's why he doesn't get discussed as much. But that's why like we're here. We're definitely going to discuss him, and I'm still just in awe. It's luck. It's our luck that he plays for Real Madrid and not a different club, because there are like probably most players in the Real Madrid starting 11, if not all, will start for every team in the world. But even in that hierarchy, I think Fede Valverde is like in top 3. He will start for any manager, any team in the world.
He's been a revelation, man. Like, honestly, like the fact that we have him, I don't know. I don't like to I think we have 4 midfielders who I would hesitate to replace. I actually wouldn't. I wouldn't trade any 4 of these young midfielders we have for anyone on the market. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Fede, Bellingham. These guys are perfect midfielders with good heads on their shoulders who do so much. And the fact that you can lose 2 of them and have the other 2 just completely run the show in Fede and Jude has been amazing. And of course, it's not just them, but we're giving them a special tribute. But because I personally think, Mehedi, that these guys are carrying the most on their shoulders from a two-way standpoint right now. I mean, Jude had one of his quietest games of the season, and still was unreal. I mean, because he's defending. I mean, that he had that incredible pass into Fede in the box, which, by the way, that's a great play to encapsulate what we're talking about. Remember in the second half when Fede, do I have the minute? God damn, I have so many tabs open. It's insane. I think I'm remembering
it. I'm not remembering the one that you're saying, but I'm remembering a similar play in the first half, but go on.
Okay, I found it. 75th minute. He kind of just is a little bit patient. He's in the left half space and he's looking and he puts the ball on his left foot and then just kind of curls it with his left foot into the box to Fede Valverde. And Fede has a shot on goal and nearly scores. It deserved an assist because the assist was brilliant. But the play is interesting itself, not just because of the pass from Jude, but because Fede is sprinting basically from a deep position in midfield and just cuts through with a diagonal run. Granada have no idea he's there because why the hell would a defensive midfielder fly in and get into a scoring position? And he nearly scores with a point-blank shot. And that's the kind of stuff that Fede is doing because you just know if Granada break, he's going to be the first one sprinting back too. So, when you have people making that run, it provides numerical superiority because these guys are not attackers, right? So long as you have the proper defensive coverage and transition, which again today, like you're not really threatened by Granada anyway. But even if you did, I thought Rudiger was great, Carvajal was great until he had to come off at halftime. So it's just all just kind of ticking now. But again, it's not just those two, but I just wanted to highlight those two. The pass from Kroos, man, on the first goal was pretty crazy. And today I think he had 120 some touches. Last game he had 117 touches. Let's look at, I'm going to just assume he had probably 100 of 100 long balls completed. Holy shit, 17 of 18. There you go.
Yeah,
like
I'm going to read a quick stat.
Okay.
Just checking it on social media. It says, since the start of 2015-16, Toni Kroos has now made 8 La Liga appearances in which he completed 15 plus long balls while maintaining a 90% or higher long ball accuracy. No one else in the top 5 European leagues has more than 4 such appearances in the same time span. Toni Kroos has 8.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, like, I can't remember the last time I checked after the game and saw Kroos misplace more than one long ball. It's pretty crazy, like, how much he just walks into it. Like, I think he probably completes 10 long balls in his sleep, like, in bed. Like, and it's so funny. People, like, I remember the only time I've checked my notifications on Twitter in the last, like, 2 years, really, was I did a Q&A on Twitter. And then after I did that Q&A, I was like, okay, I just remember why I don't check Twitter anymore. Because it's someone argued with me that all of Kroos's passes are
horizontal passes.
Horizontal, but to Mehedi, like the easiest balls because he's on the left side. And he even made me a diagram. I remember this very clearly. And I said, look, man, I think this is crazy that you believe this, and I'd be happy to do a live debate with you. And then he just stopped tweeting. And so, like, you just, like, every counter argument that people have against Kroos, there's like a counter argument against it, and it's all backed by numbers. These long ball accuracies are crazy because you can just, first of all, you can just look at the numbers and it's crazy, 17 of 18. But when you look at the highlight reel, it's just like clockwork. It's automatic. Like, his synapses are firing before he even gets the ball. He gets it, looks up, bang, like, so quickly. It doesn't matter if he's being pressed or not. The efficiency he hits them with is truly remarkable. Like, we again, I'll take it to my grave. I think he's the greatest passer in the history of the game.
I agree. And funnily enough, I probably, like, from all of his years since 2014-15, after the Brahim assist, the immediate next pass Kroos played was probably his worst pass in his Real Madrid career. I think it was a long ball into the box. Not even like a long ball. It was kind of a floated cross. And I'm like, that's just hilarious that he does that right after playing like a genius assist.
Luka Modric is famous for this. He is one of the greatest geniuses that has ever played any sport. But he'll have one pass a game, and you're like, what? It's like someone just zapped his powers for 1 millisecond, and it's like the most shocking pass. He gets it out of his system, and then he just transcends the rest of the game. So be interesting to go over some of the Ancelotti quotes. So the Managing Madrid Twitter account, as we're recording this podcast, is tweeting out Carlo's post-game quotes, and he said Carvajal likely has an overload and might not make it back for the Betis game. He says, I don't know if Carvajal will play versus Betis. We have to say Lucas was very good today. Also said, bouncing around now, but Kepa is ready to play against Betis. Luka Modric will be back for Betis. Where do you stand in the Kepa thing?
Yeah, I think Carlo, and I don't know if I'm being stereotypical regarding Italian coaches, but remember when Diego Lopez and Casillas thing happened, that Casillas would play in the cups and Lopez would play in the leagues. I saw something. It seemed strange at that time that Italian coaches usually prefer taller, big goalkeepers and not probably a bit smaller figures that like Iker Casillas. They basically prefer like taller figures as goalkeepers. And the point was drawn because Diego Lopez actually started his Real Madrid career under Fabio Capello, if I'm not mistaken. So they draw that like whole comparison back then and said like, because Lopez is like so much taller than Casillas. That's why Carlo is preferring him in the league. But I think it's not with how tall whoever is. I think it's the kind of trust which goalkeeper has over which goalkeeper has on which coach. And
well, let me interject, Mehedi. So,
yeah, sure.
According to Wikipedia, Lunen's actually taller than Kepa.
I was getting to that. Yeah, that
Okay.
Lunin, this Kepa thing is, that's why this Kepa thing is a bit surprising to me, because Lunin is Kepa is shorter than both Courtois and Lunin, of course. So, but now because of the Kepa thing, I actually think that it doesn't really has anything to do with how tall which goalkeeper is. It's again goes back to the trust point that someone has more trust with the coach than someone else. And Madrid obviously bought or like signed Kepa on loan to be the starting keeper. And although Lunin has stitched a few games together and he has done well, I think by the time Kepa got injured, he was second in the Zamora list for the most clean sheets as well. So it would not be very good on his confidence either if he got injured and now like he just can't walk back into the starting lineup. Yeah, especially the fixtures do allow Real Madrid to, I think, be a bit flexible regarding this. So I think Kepa will start back immediately. And Ancelotti actually, he repeated this after this game, but even I think in the pre-match press conference, he said that Kepa is fit to play, but he will play against Betis, not today.
Yeah, I think the hierarchy is pretty clear with the goalkeeping situation. I have one of my best friends is a Madridista. We've been through it all together. We watched the Manita Clásico together back in Mourinho versus Pep, and we've shared some good wins together too. And he and I were texting during the week, and he said he has a conspiracy theory that wouldn't even be a really conspiracy theory, but his theory is that maybe Kepa has a minute guarantee in his contract, and that's why he signed for Real Madrid. I would be surprised, but okay, I can kind of see it. Like I understand why you might think that, but I think. Look, you brought up a point. I mean, it's a delicate situation when you have a starting goalkeeper coming back and lost his place like that. But hey, man, like football is also cruel, and it's also cruel to Lunin, and it is what it is because he has done nothing wrong. I mean, Lunin has done nothing wrong, right?
And my view is the difference between Kepa and Lunin is not vast enough for us to be really worried about anything. I think the difference is, especially since Lunin has picked up form. Kepa was in decent form before he got injured. Now Lunin has picked up form. We basically have, I think, two goalkeepers in the similar level right now. So I think whoever plays, it's not going to move the needle an awful much. None of them are as good as Thibaut Courtois, of course. So I think whoever has the coach's trust, he's going to go with him. And right now that is Kepa.
All right. So where would you like to go from here? You want to talk about individual performances? Do you want to talk about something else? First half, second half, whatever you are. This podcast is not in chronological order, as everyone can tell.
Yeah, I think we can go with individual performances. I would like to discuss Rudiger. I think he was, again, really, really good today.
Agree.
I think there was a breakaway right after Real Madrid scored, and Rudiger just can't do no wrong right now. He plucked the ball out of the Granada forwards' feet inside the Real Madrid's box with excellent ease. So shout out to Rudiger. Apart from that, since we were discussing the coach, I think the Carvajal point, we can stress a little bit about that. These overloads are obviously a result probably of playing as many minutes as these players are.
Carvajal's played a lot.
Carvajal has played a lot, and even the gluten is like the lack of gluten is not helping now. So he finally got an overload. I would have now retrospectively looking at it, I would have had Lucas Vázquez today and Carvajal against Betis, but unfortunately we can't have that. Betis is in I think good form as well. Isco is doing great there, but yeah, Carvajal, I hope it's not something very serious, because this is a stretch we just we cannot lose any points in La Liga. Before everyone comes back, we have to like hold the fort. And Carvajal has been so crucial. Even like in the first half, he was really good. He played in a couple of really dangerous balls into, I think, once to Fede and once to Brahim earlier on. I think around the goal, and then he have to go away after the halftime whistle. But Carvajal has been so crucial. If it's like a 7-10 days, that's okay, I guess. But fingers crossed. I hope it's not something as serious as Chouameni or Kamavinga.
An overload doesn't sound nearly as serious, and players get overloads all the time. So hopefully it's nothing crazy or nothing major. We do have bad experiences with in the past with Carvajal, where something minor all of a sudden turns into something more, and then the next day it's like, oh, he missed training, and then the next day it's like, oh, he's gonna miss the game. It's like, and then like a month later it's like, oh, he's still not back yet. We're not sure what's going on. Hopefully it's nothing like that. The minute distribution is interesting because right now he's fourth in minutes in the team, only 200 off of Rudiger, who has played the most of any player in the team right now. And you mentioned Rudiger too, who's been great, and he was great again today. I mean, he manhandled Lucas Boye. Like, Lucas Boye had no chance. Last season, Carvajal was, 13th in minutes. Put it this way, he's only 500 minutes off of last season's total in La Liga already.
Wow.
And on top of that, he's playing for Spain every game as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Well, not really every game. I think he plays every other game. But yeah, he goes on every international break for sure.
Fair enough. So he's playing a lot. You just hope that he can stay healthy. And who do we got next? Oh yeah, Betis. Yeah, that's a tough game. I thought Carvajal was good in the first half today before he had to come off again. Him and Rudiger transition defense have been good. More of the same with Carvajal in that his balls into the box and crossing also pretty good as well. He's been good at the back. The right side on defense has been quite solid with Rudiger, Fede, and Carvajal on that side.
The next thing, I was actually just reading Lucas's tweet. So since we're like coming to the end of discussing the
what did he say? Joselu is better than Cristiano?
No. So the Madrid Zone, Madrid Extra, those Twitter accounts, they post something. What would you change in the first half? And usually, if we're losing, it's a picture of Ancelotti. But we were not losing today. I think someone posted a tweet. What would you change at the end of the first half? So Lucas retweeted that saying the referee started. So I just want to bring a couple
I think that was
points.
a Managing Madrid tweet, by the way.
Oh, okay. So I think before this game, someone else was supposed to be the referee for this game. I think it was Martin Munuera who was supposed to be the referee.
The guy they made a video about.
And then they made a video about, and then that guy did not officiate in this game. But the guy who did officiate in this game, he was handing out yellow cards all around for dissent and stuff like that. I just checked a clip where before getting the yellow card, Jude actually tells the referee to go fuck yourself, you stupid fuck, or something like that. It's very
so that's the referee.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who tackled him in the box and there was no penalty, Miguel. This is all on TV, it was very clear. He goes to extend his hand to Bellingham to lift him back up, and Jude looks at him and he goes, "Fuck off!" It was very clear on camera.
Yeah. Jude Bellingham is that's the next level, being the arrogant, have that dog in him.
You want to have him on your team. You don't want to play against him.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So, or he's just channeling his inner Gavi because he spent so much time with Gavi in the last Clasico. He learned one or two things. But Yeah, so after I can understand the referee booking him if he like said, "Go fuck yourself, you stupid fuck," and it's very clear that you can read.
He probably
it
thought that he didn't understand English.
He wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that whole thing was funny, and how Real Madrid is like preparing these videos. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a video the next time this referee is like on a match day. There's going to be a video about him.
So I saw a lot of complaints to the referee. I'm assuming the penalty non-call was the one that people were upset about, right? Was there anything else? I can't remember.
The penalty non-call, and I think he gave the yellow card to Jude, and then Carvajal went pretty, like, he was animated, but I don't think it didn't seem like a rude exchange. Carvajal was just talking to the referee how usually captains do. And he gave a yellow card to Carvajal too for dissent. So okay. I think he gave a yellow card for dissent to Rudiger as well. So that's what people are mostly complaining about, I guess.
The penalty was not that clear. I think it was like, you can argue either case. You can argue that he won the ball first, and you could also argue the follow through was a foul. Not all follow throughs are fouls. I think in this case it could have been called because what he does essentially is, with his right foot he's going for the ball, with his left foot he's going for Jude's legs, and I think that would classify as a penalty to me. I would call it. I understand why it wasn't called. I don't think this particular call was as outrageous as. I mean, I'm not a fan of Real Madrid putting out those videos before the games, but I gotta say, like, when I was watching that one, I was like, holy shit, man, these are some bad calls. It goes back to those two penalties against Rayo that weren't called. Obviously, the Militao handball that pretty much cost us the title that year. There was a bunch of others, and it's like, I don't think this non-penalty was on the level of some of those ones, but I understand the case for both. I don't think it was as... I don't think it was... maybe I'm desensitized to bad refereeing.
Yeah.
This is probably on this is like the top 75, makes a list of like top 75 worst referee games. It somehow is much worse than this most games.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We spoke about the lineup, the tactics, the defense, the offense, the individual performances. Rodrygo once again. So we were like waiting for the Rodrygo ketchup bottle to open. It's flung open. The ketchup bottle is over. Like it's just pouring. Like it's a tsunami of ketchup now. It's crazy.
Yeah, endless ketchup supply.
Yeah,
and I think I would like to talk about Rodrygo because I've been one of those people who are like super anti Rodrygo when he wasn't scoring for 12 games, and I did not. Well, obviously, I wanted him to get back and like score a bunch of goals, but even I did not expect this kind of a resurgence. And it makes it even more impressive because he's doing it while Vinicius is not here. Real Madrid is not getting Vinicius' services right now. This is the performance, or this is close to the level of performance that we expected the previous time Vinicius was injured. But Rodrygo is delivering in like absolutely all cylinders. He's going through I think this is his best stretch for Real Madrid, apart from something late last season where like when we have already lost the league to Barcelona and then like Rodrygo scored a lot during that phase. But this is important in like so many accounts. First of all, his confidence is sky high right now. I still don't know what Lionel Messi said to him that made him so angry that he's scoring every game right now.
Messi is the worst trash talker ever. Rodrygo was probably pissed off at how bad their trash talk was.
Probably. And Messi's go-to trash talk move is to like put someone on a choke. Put someone on a choke hold.
Yeah.
He does that a lot. But just to like digress, Messi's trash talking was really great against Netherlands after the World Cup. That was like that, because I support Argentina. That was the best we have seen from Messi in terms of trash talking. But anyways, Rodrygo seems like a changed man after that. He started scoring before this international break even. But right now, what I was intending to discuss is how he's striking the ball. I tweeted this like way back in March or something that the next level in both Vinicius and Rodrygo's play has to be regarding their ball strike technique. Rodrygo's ball striking technique was a bit better than Vinicius probably even to begin with, but the power aspect was always lacking for these two. They're always like looking for the shot that goes under the hand of the goalkeeper, or the chip, or the close, slow finish, that kind of stuff. Rodrygo has just recently said, like, fuck it, I'm just going to hit it as hard as I can. Probably that's the tip he needed all along. And if you see like some of the goals that he scored in the last game, both of them hit very hard.
Yeah.
The goal that he scored today hit very hard. So if long-term Real Madrid want more goals from Rodrygo and Vinicius, I think this aspect needs to be in their game. And right now, Rodrygo's game definitely has that aspect. And I love it. You're a goal scorer. You have to strike the ball harder. You can't look for that cheeky finish all the time. There would be moments where you have to go for the more cheeky finish, but not always. And Rodrygo has, I think, learned that the hard way, but he's now making it hard for opponents as well.
Well, you guys on the Real Deal Pod's Twitter account, you say the fact that after this game, Rodrygo has now equaled his XG for the season. Mm-hmm. So he's on par. At this rate, he'll surpass it, which is a great sign. I mean, that's exactly what you need. I mean, Rodrygo scoring changes everything for the season.
Everything.
Changes my prediction for where Real Madrid will end up. It changes everything. If you have Rodrygo scoring with Jude, and obviously ideally all three of Jude, Vinny, and Rodrygo, it changes the ceiling of the team completely. So, just some numbers. Rodrygo, first in La Liga in carries into the penalty area. Fourth in goal-creating actions. First in shot volume, which means he's not being shy. Fifth in successful take-ons. Dribbling has been phenomenal, especially of late. I mean, now, this last couple games, like I was at the Napoli game, and just there was two occasions where the Bernabeu was like kind of flabbergasted at a dribble he pulled. I was like, oh, like they couldn't believe it. And then today he had that one really nice roulette kind of spin pass in the first half. So you can kind of see it also when he's doing stuff like that. The confidence is different than it was at the beginning of the season. Body language is completely different than what it was earlier. Big difference. Rodrygo, excellent again. Brahim, excellent again. Here's a mini debate that was sparked. I don't even know it was a debate. Just the idea that Brahim has been basically a great Asensio replacement. It's going to be hard to replace Asensio's role because it's not like a player. It's not a starter you're signing, so it's not a star. But it's someone who provides goals and offensive production off the bench. And Brahim, I think, has been a perfect replacement for Asensio. You don't need to get into a debate about who is better, Brahim or Asensio. That's not the point of the exercise. But the point is, like, in terms of replacing his offensive output, I think Brahim's been a great choice. And I was skeptical about Brahim because of his performances for Milan the last couple of years. But he looks rejuvenated right now, and he's just been fantastic.
Yeah, and I was in the same boat as you, that I wasn't really impressed when Real Madrid signed him. But based on his performances, 15 games into the season, where he hasn't played an awful lot, but he has started a lot after Vinicius got injured.
Yeah,
I'm super impressed. And I would actually argue that the setup that Real Madrid is playing right now, the way that Real Madrid is playing right now, Asensio would probably have scored more goals because he has that, surprise element in his game. He has that great shot. But especially in the build-up, in the ball carrying, in the aspect of getting out of trouble in tight spaces, I think Brahim is better because you can see, especially in central channels, he can get out of trouble even with 2-3 bodies chasing him or pressing him. He can get out of those situations and then play a simple pass to Jude or whoever is close by. And that's something that has impressed me in the past couple of games, that you have to contribute in some way. With Asensio, it was that if he's not scoring, you wouldn't notice that he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
Brahim, what he's been doing well.
Brahim is less specialized and more multifunctional, if you ask me.
Exactly.
And you brought the point about the kind of the ability to escape tight spaces. He's a better dribbler. I mean, much better dribbler than Asensio in those, like the line breaking, dribbling runs. He's better. And Asensio is obviously a better scorer, but like Brahim has been, providing goals, which has been nice too. So, we're not talking about. This is the big one. This is the one I wanted to mention from the start. Brahim is better defensively. Like he will provide you with a lot of great off-ball work to press and to win the ball back and to track. And at Milan, that was one thing I noted about him. Even when he wasn't playing well, the effort never. Like you never have to worry about, is Brahim trying hard? At least he always tried, even if he sucked. And you got to give him that. Yeah. And defensively,
and even if he like loses the ball, you can see like immediately him running after the player who like stole the ball from him and tried to win that back. That's something always that impresses me. Yeah,
that happened on a couple of occasions the last game too, where he lost the ball and he immediately sprints back and hounds and tries to win it back. Look, I mean, I thought this was a pretty comfortable win. It was kind of, admittedly, I thought it was boring at some points. Like second half was pretty uneventful. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what we missed. I thought we every time I think we didn't miss everything. We didn't miss anything. We got everything. After the podcast, I remember we missed something. So we always miss something. Like I was.
Did you see when the referee tripped and fell and the crowd like celebrated like it was a goal?
I must have missed that.
That was in the second half.
I did have a bathroom break in the second half, so I must have missed it.
Yeah, so the commentators are laughing. Everyone was laughing. Well, the game did become stale at one point, and at full time, the commentators are actually saying that this was a very quote-unquote professional performance from Real Madrid. And I agree. I think Madrid, at one point when they like knew that they have total control in this game, did not want to force anything. And even amidst that, we got another goal, 2-0, comfortable. The defense, as you mentioned, did great. Granada basically didn't create anything, even with players like Lucas Boy and Brian Zaragoza. So all in all, I think it was by design that we took the foot off the gas a little bit, just to preserve a bit of energy as well. Because at certain stretches, I could see like some of our players did look a bit tired, especially like Rodrygo, who has played nonstop since the international break.
Yeah,
a bit with Kroos as well. He has played a lot too. I saw a little bit of tiredness. So probably it could be by design that when Madrid were comfortable enough, they just took the foot off the gas.
That's always the worry. It's like, you trust in these players who are on the field, like, Kroos, Fede. I mean, even Rudiger, who is filling in for Militao, let's remember. It's just, at some point, you're like, I just hope that they don't get run into the ground because there's no other options right now. Right now, I mean, even Modric. Modric is someone who would give Kroos rest, but he's not back yet. He'll be back for Betis. And that's the thing. Like, I was talking to some journalists at halftime of the Napoli game at the Bernabeu, and we were talking about like, this is really good, and like, they're playing well, and you almost forget like half the team is missing.
Yeah,
like literally, and half the team is missing, and it's like. And I was having a conversation with Diego about this because, like, Diego sometimes goes in this mode of like, well, you can't compare because Barcelona are missing this player and that player. I'm like, dude, do you want me to read you our injuries? It's insane. And it's like the only reason you're not talking about it is because Real Madrid is playing so well and that we forgot Vinicius is not there. Tchouameni, Camavinga, Courtois, Militao. I remember, and this is funny because Diego, before the Clásico, or maybe after the Clásico, he was like trying to tell me that Courtois and Militao don't count because it was like so long ago and that we signed Kepa. I'm like, okay, bro, whatever.
Our injuries are like always, we have these kind of situations so often where like half our team was gone. I remember something way back from 2021. I was doing a podcast with a member of the Liverpool Supporters Club from India. So this was before, I think, the round of 16 or quarterfinals, whichever we faced them in Valdebebas under Zidane, where Vinicius scored twice. Before that game, so we were doing a pre-game podcast, and he was actually like complaining about Liverpool's injuries in that game. So I asked him, do you even know who Marvin Park is? And he's like, no, who's that? I'm like, that's the guy who's going to play right back for us probably. So you don't even know our players that are going to play in the match. What are you complaining with?
Yeah.
So we go through these kind of
We never
so
see
often.
the opposing team's standpoint ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's funny because so many of Real Madrid's games too, like, we don't care, like, we as in, like, our fan base doesn't care to know that, like, sometimes we're facing, like,
Yeah.
Almeria, and like they're missing 8 starters. We don't even know because we just don't know. Like when we used to do the preview pods a lot with Jose, like we would go through like, okay, this team is missing this player and that player and that player. Like then it just doesn't register for us. Like we never look at the opposing team's point of view for that kind of stuff. But look, the reality is Real Madrid have been decimated, and I think just to go back again full circle, I think Carlo Ancelotti has done an amazing job this season overall. I mean, we can go through it. I don't think it's been flawless, but no one is flawless. I think he's done a remarkable job. I'm really impressed with what Carlo's been doing.
Absolutely. And I think the problem or like the complaints regarding Carlo previously was that he would see that something's not working out and still persist with it until like it's all gone. This time around, I think he's learning from his mistakes much quickly, because after the Madrid derby, the team has been unbelievable. We struggled a lot in the first half against Barcelona, but then again, we came back. We got 8 points. We got the job done. So it's all about getting the job done. I don't think anybody would have complained, including me, if we had played that terrible and somehow won the derby. But Ancelotti is finding these ways. And he's having to constantly improvise, because every other game, like a key piece of his team is getting out due to injuries. He had to start the season without the best goalkeeper in the world and like his best defender. So all in all, I think this has been a remarkable job. No complaints for Carlo right now.
Yeah, the Atletico 1 could have probably been prevented. At least, I mean, we wouldn't have known either way. This is all theory, but I mean, Tchouaméni would have, if he started that game, would have helped a lot with our defensive tracking, and the fact that, Fran Garcia and Kroos were getting cooked on that side defensively, and Tchouaméni wasn't there to help. But again, like, you kind of live and learn, and I think it's been pretty much, I mean, if you're told, we asked this question, like, at some point in the fall, like, if you had told us before the season started, you lose Courtois, Militao, Vinicius, you don't sign a superstar striker to replace Benzema, that you'd be in this position, we would have taken it. And now, like, if you would have, and you remember, it seems so long ago now, Mehedi, but remember that the last international break when Camavinga got injured and Vinicius was injured, everyone was melting down. They were like, season's over. It's over. And now, I mean, again, I said it so many times, this stretch of the schedule, we're very lucky that it happened here. But even irrespective of that, I mean, we played Napoli, who, I mean, we pretty much dominated. I mean, they had their moments, but, we're playing.
And one thing, Kiyan, is that doesn't get talked enough about managers like Ancelotti, Zidane, quote unquote, the man managers, is we can discuss the stats, we can discuss the tactics all the way. But when, even as you mentioned, that after Camavinga and Vinicius got injured, if in the dressing room, if the players see that the manager, their leader, is freaking out, of course, everyone will freak out. I think Carlo brings that calmness element to it. He's always calm. He's never freaking out about
He's got
anything.
a steady state.
Yeah, he's got a steady head. He's got a steady state. And that just immediately transcends that confidence among players that, okay, like if our leader is not worried about it, definitely he has something up his sleeve. And as it turns out, he does have something up his sleeve. So I think that calmness aspect helps massively. We can't quantify it with a FBref column. We can't quantify it with a visual, but this is just as important, I think.
Yeah. Do we have any thoughts on the Euro draw going on while the games were happening?
I only checked Spain's group. It was, I think, Spain, Italy, Croatia, and Albania.
Group of death,
I hate the Spanish national team, by the way. I want them to be like 4th in this group. So I think a tough group helps. Croatia is, well, Italy is not doing that well right now. Italy is like a completely different team than the one that won the Euros. So I think they will probably go through. By the way, like I don't like Spain because of like every player that plays 30 seconds for Barcelona gets an automatic pass at the Spanish national team. That kind of irks me.
I don't support Spain anymore like I used to. Like when I was a kid, I used to support them a lot. But I'm at a stage now where I'm pretty neutral. Unless Canada's playing. Canada's the only team I'll be like, I'll actually like, put I'll be like patriotic a little bit. But even then, like I just kind of support at this stage all the Real Madrid players. Like I would love for Modric to take this Croatia team far again. I'm supporting that kind of stuff. I really like Brazil now. I mean, just because of Rodrygo and Vinicius and Militao. So I'll support them too in an international tournament. But you always pick to cover Fede Valverde with Uruguay, stuff like that. Like I will basically root for the Real Madrid players.
Just a quick note on that. I think Carlo spoke this. Just a quick interjection about Fede. Carlo spoke about this today in the post-match press conference, that Fede's new position, he's doing so well because he plays the same position for Uruguay now too, because Uruguay kind of plays this weird 4-2-2-2 as well. And what a time for Fede. I mean, like his two managers are Carlo Ancelotti and Marcelo Bielsa. So a great time in his career for sure.
Yeah, for sure. The boys' WhatsApp group was losing it over the noises during the Euro draw. Do you see this?
No.
Okay,
no.
Just go look it up after the podcast is recording.
Okay.
Someone pranked the draw and inserted some adult noises. Let's say, put it that way, during the draw. And there's a video clip of David Silva. He's doing the draw because he was the guy who was taking the balls out and thing, and he's like kind of like has a half smile on his face, trying not to laugh as these noises were happening. People were losing it. Last thing, predictions for Atletico Barca tomorrow?
Oh, Atletico Barca, that I can give a prediction to. I don't predict Real Madrid games. Yeah. Barcelona 1-0, because it seems like I've seen this script so many times.
I know.
They're not going to trash them. It's going to be like Atletico will play well, create many chances. Is Ter Stegen back for this game, by the way, or Inaki Peña is going to play? I don't know. But Sid and I have planned to actually do a pre-game Twitter space from the Real Deal account if we can before this game. But I say like a Barcelona 1-0 win after like a scrappy goal after the 80th minute from Joao Cancelo or Joao Felix.
Ter Stegen is ruled out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Atletico. I don't trust Atletico in these type of games. I think they should, based on form, beat them. But it's just going to be some BS, and the Barca will win in the 99th minute.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Joao Felix.
Yeah. A draw is these games, Barca Girona, Barca Atleti, Atleti Girona. A draw is the best result for us because both teams are losing a couple of points rather than one team losing 3 and the other not losing any. I want all of these games to be draws, actually, like both legs, because Barca Atleti, Barca Girona, Atleti Girona, neither of these 6 games or 9 games, I'm like messing up the math right now, have happened yet. I want all of these games to be draws.
Draws would be fine. I think. Girona, I would support to win because I don't think Girona has enough in the tank to go far into the season. So I don't really see them as a contender, with all due respect. But I mean, it's amazing what they're doing, and who knows, maybe they'll prove me wrong. But I don't know. The one thing that I'm worried about is the inevitable fact that I think Atletico will just do Barca a favor again and give Joao Felix to them for like €5.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed about that inevitability. Like, have you been following what, Joao Felix, what he said the other day and Simeone's
response?
I think
he said, are you talking about what he said that ask anyone at Atletico Madrid, they'll like to play how we play at Barca. If they say that's not right, they're lying.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Atletico want to play more attacking football. Here we play more beautiful football. Dude, how long does it take for the brainwashing to, like, as soon as you become a Barcelona player, I think they slip you a pill to brainwash you.
Yeah.
Like, if Joao Felix was watching Atletico, he would know Atletico are actually playing more beautiful football than Barca this year. Like, they're actually a more attacking team than Barca.
Yeah, and this has been like the best. We did some analysis with the non-penalty XGs from the Real Deal account, and this has been the most attacking Atletico Madrid have been ever under Simeone.
Yeah,
and so yeah, in today's episode of the Barca PR machine, basically,
the Barca PR machine, it's just on another level. Mark Gu, who scored and then disappeared.
Yeah,
he was already like the next Maradona.
Yeah, do you know like Bojan Krkić is like a scout or something at Barcelona right
he
now?
works
Like
for
he was
them.
supposed to be the next Messi. Messi is still playing. Like he became a scout.
Ricky
But
Puig.
although, like,
Ricky Puig was supposed to be better than Zinedine Zidane. Ansu
But
Fati was
in
supposed to be
all
better than
fairness-
Ronaldinho.
In all fairness, I think I'm just joking, but I think Bojan Krkić had to cut his football career due to some other issues, probably related to health. So Messi is still playing because Messi can.
But the point is, like, you know, where is our PR machine when Nico Paz scores a game winner against Napoli? Like, who do we need to talk to?
Yeah.
Is it Illuminati? Is it who is in charge of the PR? Is Mark Gu ahead of Bellingham in the Ballon d'Or race now?
Yeah, definitely like the next golden ball. Barcelona fans were like dead sure that Balde is going to win the Copa Trophy and the golden ball this season, but I think then Balde's season kind of got sidetracked. Right now, it's so weird. Like Romeu and Balde, both of them are like going through a bad stretch of form, and the Barca PR machine has convinced people that, oh no, they actually, because the media has trash talked so much, they don't feel good about themselves anymore. They think they're not as good footballers anymore. That's why they're not playing well. I'm like, cut the bullshit.
Well, let them have their PR and their moral victories. All right, I think we're going to wrap it here. I did want to do a quick something here before we finish. So what's today? Saturday. So on Monday, we are doing our regular El Dia Después segment, which is like that on the Monday after a game on the weekend. Lucas and I have some reflection, and if there's any news on Monday, we'll do that. That goes up for free. The rest is, I mean, you guys have Real Deal pods coming up. When's your next one?
Yeah,
You just dropped one yesterday, right?
No,
that was an article you guys dropped.
Yeah, that was the article. So the next podcast we're recording tomorrow. Sid and I are recording tomorrow. So it'll probably go up sometime next week.
Okay.
And that's all.
So I would just encourage everyone, because you might be listening to this on different platforms or whatever, but the best way to not miss any content we put out is to, one, subscribe on your podcast app. So you can go on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, search Managing Madrid, subscribe there, and then get the membership version too. Patreon.com/Managing Madrid. That's where we do all the bonus content. So if you're subscribed on the podcast app and on Patreon, you are guaranteed not to miss any content. So go do that. I did want to give a quick shout out to our patrons over on Patreon.com/Managing Madrid. If you pledge $10 or more per month, you get guaranteed responses to all your questions. You get access to all the content, and you get a specific shout out on our podcast. So shout out to these $10 plus patrons as follows. And now, of course, I have to scramble and get the tab. Where did the tab go? There it is. Okay. Daniel Smith, Fabian Moreno, KT, Primo, Ramtin Maghrour, Bella Chow, Adam Dorsey, Adar Zalukovic, Azaz Hussein, Alex Thyberg, Alexandria McCaskill, Ananya Kumar, Andres Silvestre, Anthony Tharp, Armando L, Armangashi, Armash, Arnab Mukherjee, Brandon Stevens, Brendan Powers, Carlos Fuentes, Christian Acosta, Connor McMorrow, Daniel Williams, Deadpool Lover, Eloy Enriquez, S.A. Davisito, Frederick Sundros, Frederick Antequiro, Gary Kohut, Graham Gerard, Jacob P., Jason Fitz, John Fernandez, Jose Cruz, Jose Osorio, Kevin Rivera, Khalfan Alkabi, Leon Savernakis, Logan Stahl, Magnus Lext, Martin Ridman, Matthew Atkins, Marin Myrtle, Michael Zinberg, MJ Diego, Nelson Mazariego, Nick Ribeiro, Nicholas Moeller, Oscar Barrera, Patrick Diafati, Paulo Fierro, Peter P., Phoenix, Rishi D., Sai Mohan Sasi Kumar, Sammer Z, Samuel Lee Justin, Santos Solorzano, Sergio Arispe, Sheikh Hatiri, Somanshu Singh, Sujai Wani, Sushank Damala, Tahmid Kalam, Tobias Royal Botcher, Wamik Jamal, Wasim Haddad, Will Sousa, Willie Reed, and Brandon Alvarez. Thank you guys so much for your support. It's not possible without you. Mehedi, thank you for joining the show, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and peace out.
Peace out.